Are you trying to live right in a world that doesn't care? Where cutting corners seems normal, where the truth feels optional, where integrity feels inconvenient. Maybe you've gone as far as thinking, does doing the right thing even matter anymore? And that tension between culture and character is exhausting. But what if strong character isn't outdated? What if integrity is not weakness? Well, in this video, we're going to look to the book of Titus to answer a powerful question. And that question is, how do you live differently in a world that doesn't? To be real with you, I know that it can feel discouraging when honesty and doing the right thing, it seems like it's slow, like it doesn't matter. You see, I care about doing what's right, but sometimes it feels like you're swimming upstream because we've all seen it. We've all seen dishonesty get rewarded. We've seen values get compromised. And when the culture drifts, the pressure grows. The pressure grows to blend in, to lower the bar, to hide and don't stand out, to just blend in and be like everybody else. And again, that's the tension between cultural pressure and personal conviction. And that tension is real. And so in this video, we're going to look at the book of Titus. And let me start by giving you an introduction and a background. Titus is written by Paul to a leader named Titus. And so Paul is writing to this leader and his name is Titus, and that's the name of the book. Titus was stationed in the island of Crete. And the island of Crete is a place that was known for corruption. It was known for moral looseness and just cultural instability. So in this letter, this was not a calm, polished church environment. This was messy. And Paul writes to Titus with clarity and urgency. And his message is simple. Strong churches require strong character. You see, here's a huge perspective shift. Christian influence does not start in politics. It starts in personal integrity. And so the book of Titus is structured in a way that it's short, but it's sharp. And so chapter 1 is about appointing godly leaders. Paul outlines the qualifications for leaders. And if you look at those qualifications, you'll notice something. You'll notice that it's not about talent. It's not about charisma. It's all about character. And character is important because trust forms through consistency over time, not in performance in moments. And so that's something that Paul knew long before modern research. And chapter 2 is about living out across generations. Paul speaks to older men. He speaks to older women, younger men. Why? Because character is not isolated. It's contagious. And so healthy communities are built on visible, lived out values. In chapter 3, it's about being different even in public. Paul tells believers to be peaceful, to be gentle, and to be devoted to good works. Not loud, not combative, not arrogant, but be peaceful, be gentle, be devoted. See, this is clever and it's also countercultural because real strength often looks quiet. And there's some themes in the book of Titus. The first theme is integrity matters. Your life must match your message. See, a cracked lighthouse cannot guide ships safely. The hypocrisy weakens influence. The second theme is good works flow from grace. Titus emphasizes that grace saves us, but good works reveal us. This is not about earning salvation. This is about expressing transformation. And then the third theme is influence through character. The church in Crete was not called to dominate culture. They were called to outshine it. Light does not need to argue with darkness. It just simply needs to shine. And so that was a overview and introduction to the book of Titus, which leads us to the most important verse in Titus. And that verse is Titus 2:7. And it says, "And you yourselves must be an example to them by doing good works of every kind. Let everything you do reflect the integrity and the seriousness of your teaching." And so that's one of the most important verses in the book of Titus. And I'm going to read to you the passage where that verse comes from. I'm going to start in Titus, the second chapter. I'm going to start in verse 1. And it says, "As for you, Titus, promote the kind of living that reflects wholesome teaching. Teach the older men to exercise self-control, to be worthy of respect, and to live wisely. They must have sound faith and be filled with love and patience. Similarly, teach the older women to live in a way that honors God. They must not slander others or be heavy drinkers. Instead, they should teach others what is good. These older women must train the younger women to love their husbands and their children, to live wisely and be pure, to work in their homes and to do good, and to be submissive to their husbands. Then they will not bring shame on the word of God. In the same way, encourage the young men to live wisely. And you yourself must be an example to them by doing good works of every kind. Let everything you do reflect the integrity and seriousness of your teaching. Teach the truth so that your teaching can't be criticized. Then those who oppose us will be ashamed and have nothing bad to say about us." So going back to verse 7, he says, and you yourselves must be an example to them by doing good works of every kind. Let everything you do reflect the integrity and seriousness of your teaching. And so this verse, it captures the heart of the entire book. And so what if the strongest sermon is actually the life you live? Not the sermon that's preached, but the life that you live. What if that's the strongest sermon? Because the point is this: you don't just talk about doing good, you actually do good. And so this verse, it says, and you yourself must be an example to them by doing good works of every kind. Every kind. This phrase emphasizes the importance of personal conduct in all aspects of life. It says do good works of every kind. Not just one type of, do good works, not be good over here and be bad over here. Do good works of every kind. You see, this is a call to be an example. This call to be an example is rooted in the broader biblical principle of living a life that reflects Christ's teachings. That's what it's about. And the Apostle Paul, he's writing to Titus, and he points out the necessity for leaders and believers to model good works in their life. And the good works are the outward expressions of faith. Just like it says in James 2:17, where it says faith by itself is not enough. Unless it produces good deeds, it is dead and useless. And so it's not enough to just say you got faith. If you say you got faith, we'll know you got faith by what you do, by your good deeds. You see, the cultural context of Crete, the island of Crete at that time, this is where Titus was ministering. It was known for its moral negligence. Like they just didn't have no morals. They just didn't care. And it was known for that. And so in Titus 1:12, it says, even one of their own men, a prophet from Crete, he said about them that the people of Crete are all liars. He said they're all liars. He said they're cruel animals and they're lazy gluttons. This is what a man from Crete said. And so therefore, demonstrating good works was crucial for countering all of the negative stereotypes that was going on in that time, so that anyone can establish credibility. If they acted in a decent way, they can be credible in a place like that. And conducting yourselves in such a way, it aligns with Jesus' teachings in Matthew 5:16, where you are supposed to stand out. Even though everybody else can be like this, you're supposed to stand out. That's why Jesus said in Matthew 5:16, he says, let your good deeds shine for all to see, so that everyone will praise your heavenly Father. That's our job, to let our good deeds shine out. That's our job, is to let our light shine. That's what it is. And so as we believers, we are supposed to let our light shine before others. We are supposed to stand out. We're supposed to. We're not supposed to blend in. We're not supposed to fit in. We're not supposed to hide. We're supposed to stand out and shine out. That's what Jesus said. And so that's why Paul is telling Titus. He said, and you yourself must be an example to them by doing good works of every kind. And he says, let what you do reflect the integrity and the seriousness of your teaching. And so he's saying integrity in teaching refers to the consistency and the honesty in conveying the truth of the gospel. That's what he's saying. Paul here stresses this to ensure that the message of Christ remains untainted by all the false doctrines and all the personal gain that was going on at the time. You see, the historical context of the early church involved various heresies and false teaching, which makes integrity necessary for persevering the purity of the Christian message. This also mirrors the Old Testament emphasis on truthfulness and faithfulness, just like we see in Proverbs 12 and 22, where it states, the Lord detests lying lips, but delights in people who are trustworthy. Let everything you do reflect the integrity and the seriousness of your teaching. That's what Paul is saying. He said the integrity and the seriousness of your teaching. What? The seriousness of your teaching. He's talking about maintaining a sense of respect and seriousness in the delivery of the gospel, because this reflects the gravity and the importance of the message being shared. You see, in the Greco-Roman world, where rhetoric and public speaking were highly valued, those things were highly valued in the time. And when you presented yourself with dignity, it would enhance the credibility and the reception of your message. That's the same today. If everybody knows that you're a person of integrity and dignity, it's going to enhance your message. It's going to allow people to hear you because they know you have some credibility. That's why sometimes when people don't know you, they're skeptical about what you're saying. But when people know that you're a person of integrity, when people know that you have character, they listen to what you say. That's basically what we're talking about here. And so this concept is also echoed in 1 Timothy 4 and 12, where Paul tells Timothy, don't let anyone think less of you because you are young, but be an example to all of the believers in what you say, in the way that you live, in your love, in your faith, and in your purity. See, he advises Timothy to set an example in your speech, in your conduct, in your love, in your faith, in everything that you do. Set an example because it is important to have a respectable demeanor when you're in ministry. And so that's Titus 2 and 7. And again, it says, and you yourself must be an example to them by doing good works of every kind. Let everything you do reflect the integrity and seriousness of your teaching. Now, let's see what is all going on in this verse. Well, first of all, you got Titus. Titus is a young pastor. He's a trusted companion of the Apostle Paul. He was tasked with organizing the church in Crete, and he was tasked with ensuring that sound doctrine and good works were spread out amongst the believers. Then you got the Apostle Paul. Paul is the author of this letter to Titus. He wrote this letter to provide guidance and instruction for church leadership and Christian living. You got the island of Crete. Crete is an island in the Mediterranean where Titus was stationed, and he was there to lead and instruct the early Christian community. You got the early Christian community. In the context in which Titus was ministering in, it was a context that was characterized by the need for sound teaching and moral integrity, because they had none. And then we're talking about good works. Good works. What are good works? Good works are the actions and the behaviors that reflect a life transformed by the gospel. And so all of this teaches us a couple of things. It teaches us about exemplary conduct. As Christians, we are called to be role models in our community. We are called to demonstrate our faith through consistent good works. This teaches us about integrity in teaching. Our teaching, whether it's formal or informal, should be marked by honesty and truthfulness. And what I mean by formal and informal, everybody is not on a platform. Sometimes your teaching is just to your family. Sometimes your teaching is just to your kids. Sometimes your teaching is to a one-on-one with a friend. So whether you're teaching formal and informal, it should be marked by honesty and truthfulness. That's why. And so, because what this reflects the character of Christ. The next thing it teaches us about dignity in behavior. Our actions should be conducted with respect and honor, because this is how we uphold the dignity of our calling as followers of Christ. The next thing it teaches us is about consistency in faith and works. There should be no distinction or no disconnect between what we profess and how we live. That's the biggest problem that people have. There's a difference between what they say out of their mouth and how they live. There should be no disconnect between what we profess, what we proclaim with our mouths, and how we live. It should be the same. This means that our faith should be evident in our daily actions. That's why it says in James, don't tell me about you got faith. Show me you got faith by your good deeds, because faith without works is dead. That's basically what he's saying. You can't say you got faith if I don't see nothing. And then the last thing this teaches us about influence through example. Our lives can be a profound impact on others if we just allow ourselves to be an example. Because when our life impacts others, it draws them to Christ. It don't draw them to us. It ain't about living a life of impact to draw people to you. You live a life of impact to draw people to Christ. That's what it's all about. And so that's why we need to be the example. Set the example in our conduct and in our character, because it draws people to Christ. And so in the book of Titus, it tells us integrity is light. Character is power. Consistency builds credibility. And imagine what could happen if we believe this. Imagine what could happen if we modeled integrity daily. If people chose conviction over convenience. If that happened, we would not blend in. We would not burn out, but we would shine bright for all the world to see, because Titus teaches us this truth. You don't change the culture by yelling at it or blending in. You change the culture by living differently inside of it. And so that's what I wanted to share with you. The book of Titus. I hope this blessed you. I hope this was helpful for you. Please share this message with somebody you know who needs to hear this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.